Initial statement. We agree with the following statement. The proposed law in Germany to limit dog ownership to people who have the ability to walk or exercise the dog for at least an hour per day is an unfair method to control pet ownership to only a few individuals. Here is a list of reasons why we agree with this statement. Single parents with children, workers with long shifts, breed-specific, pets with different needs, weather permitting, elderly, special needs, and we also have some statistics behind the law.
Single parents with children. In Germany, 30% of the households are single-parent households, and 20% of those own a dog. While these families may love their pets, the law may prevent them from owning a pet here in the future. A single-parent household means that there is more work for the individual. This may include taking care of children, working, taking care of the household chores, and so on. This being said, it may be difficult for them to find time to exercise this new law.
Workers with long shifts. There are data that show around 40% of hospital staff work longer than scheduled, with shifts that exceed more than 12 hours per day. After working numerous hours and with the day coming to an end, many workers would not want to spend an hour of their remaining time bringing out their dog. They would most likely rather use that time to eat and recharge for their next shift. By limiting the ownership availability to only people that have the ability to walk or exercise the dog for at least an hour per day is unfair to those staff. Although they do want to enjoy time with their dogs and bring them out more than an hour a day, their scheduling with their work makes it hard to do so.
When looking at the law in Germany that limits dog ownership only to the people that are able to walk or exercise their dog for at least an hour a day, you do have to also take into consideration that this doesn't apply to all breeds of dogs. There are several breeds that just can't physically handle the strenuous exercise. Not all dog breeds are built to handle the long hour walks. For example, pugs, bulldogs, and shih tzus are a few dog breeds that are brachycephalic, so therefore they have more difficulty breathing. They're often panting a lot just in normal circumstances, in a normal environment, whereas you'll see the larger dogs or larger breeds, they don't pant as much, only after they've been running around or jumping, doing more exercise. So it is often a safety hazard to put these smaller dogs through strenuous exercise. It just is harder for them to pant enough to cool off. Their body cannot cool off fast enough. So it's just much easier for the short-snouted dogs to overheat even when they're just playing, let alone doing a long distance walk. Therefore, it's just the law is unfair for grouping these smaller dog breeds in with all dogs that would need the more exercise. It's just not healthy for them to have to endure that every day. And the law isn't very tailored to specific dog breeds. They just consider them all as one.
Pets with different needs. Dog trainer Anya Striegel states, for a young fit lab, 2 hours of walkies are healthier than for an arthritic pug with heart problems. Another example would be pets with rear limb paralysis. These pets are typically equipped with wheelchairs and It can be very tiring for some to stay mobile in them for long periods of time. It's important to sit down and really think about their specific needs as a day-to-day basis so that they can live happy lives without any limitations. It's also important to think about the senior pets and their limitations to certain exercises because what may be recommended for a young pup doesn't really apply to the older fellas.
Weather permitting, some dogs may suffer from arthritis and degenerative disease, making it difficult to walk outside, especially in the colder weather. Dogs with breathing problems may not be able to be out in the heat for 30 minutes without issues, let alone 1 hour. It would be much more beneficial to take shorter walks or skipping the walk in the heat and stay indoors or under the shade.
Elderly. Research confirms that many health benefits are provided to the elderly that own animals. Some of those health benefits could be decreased blood pressure, decreased cholesterol, lower stress, decrease in feeling of loneliness and depression. Many animals in the elderly community are unable to be outside their houses for long periods of time due to medical issues. Elderly people who are wheelchair bound or bedridden can't necessarily get out of their house, obviously, but having an animal helps them feel better and feel like they have somebody to be around and make them feel less lonely. And you don't want to take that right away from them, so it's nice for them to have an animal. And there's other options for that animal to be able to go outside, like somebody else coming to walk it, even if that elderly person isn't the one doing it themselves. Although they cannot be outside for an hour, they can try to take them out for a small amount of time. Elderly who are more likely or more accessible of getting out and going outside, maybe not for an hour, but for a small amount of time, can go out and just take them out and get them some fresh air. And they're still being cared for, and they still show that they love the animal very much. Special needs. Children with special needs are able to learn key skills from owning an animal like empathy or compassion and learning how to take care of them. These are key skills that they have to learn, and it's a lot easier to do it with an animal in a sense because it's more enjoyable and the animal's cute and the child's interested more in it. Animals are also able to help them with other medical issues that could be related to their special needs, like high blood pressure and heart rate. They can also help reduce stress, increase mood, and become more social. These are very similar points to the elderly slide, but it works in both situations. Animals have a spark in them. They make people happy. They make people laugh and smile. So just because they aren't able to get out there and walk their dog for an hour or keep them outside for an hour and play with them doesn't mean they don't love their animal. It doesn't mean they shouldn't have the right to have an animal. Just like the elderly, there's ways around it. Some special needs kids have to have supervised walks or can't go out by themselves, so maybe they can go for a shortened walk with somebody like mom or dad, or somebody who's watching them or taking care of them for that day, or even somebody could come out and take the dog out, or there's things like doggy daycare that the animal can actually get a lot of time outside that the person isn't giving them. Lastly, separation anxiety in people may be paired up with special needs dogs that may be able to be out or away. Risking pets going out may cause anxiety in the individual, and therefore long walks will be stressful on both pet owners and as well as the dog. So in this case, it's talking about like PTSD and how the person, probably like a military veteran, has PTSD and the dog does too. So long walks can stress them out, but being together makes them comfortable and helps with their recovery. So a long walk might not be a good thing for them, or even an hour,
but they're still being loved for and taken care of, and they need each other.
Statistics behind the law. According to the agriculture minister of Germany, the law is based off evidence that Germany's 9.4 million dogs need sufficient measure of activity and contact with environmental stimuli. However, a stimuli can be achieved through other means, like allowing your dog to roam freely indoors or with a dog sitter who can perhaps come to the pet instead of an individual being made to walk the dog for an hour a day outside, where in many situations, as stated above, can be more harmful than good to the pet.